Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, right on cue. Let's go to the Horns at Half Past, brought to you by Dr. Greg Eckert. He's my dentist, and he would love to be yours. Good work, Jack, on a Fat Tuesday. So there you go. Dr. Greg Eckert, he's my dentist. He wants to be yours. So this has been saying it for years. College football needs to follow the English Premier League formula, have the top 25 play each other each season. Well, let's crawl before we can walk here. Let's get to 16, which they're going to do, then 24. But I will say, upon now seeing the actual details of what the Big Ten wants, because I thought they were all over these automatic qualifiers and it was confusing. This is pretty simple.
Yeah.
1 to 24.
And for what it's worth,
play it out.
To the texter, you're arguing about, the 24th versus the 5th team getting in. Are we going to care about that argument as much?
25, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been James Madison at 24 and North Texas at 25.
Get the Mean Green in there.
I think we here would have liked that. We have the local story with Drew Mestamaker, who's now, at Oklahoma State, North Texas. You have a tie to North Texas.
My daughter. But a lot of money goes to North Texas.
But it's also neither of those teams are winning a title, right?
Yeah. Well, again, it would be 24. It simplifies it for me. Gets rid of conference title games, home games for everybody in the top 16 on campuses. So there's 2 weekends of that. I like it. Don't hate it. I actually like it more than the 16-team proposal because that still does conference title games, and I'm opposed to those. I just think it's a game that doesn't need to be played. It brings risk to injury. It brings nothing to the table as far as import to the champion decision. We played 3 months of football to decide a champion of a conference, then just play in the tournament.
Sure.
Just get in there.
Like as cool as it was to see Indiana beat Ohio State, it would have been cooler to watch them end Ohio State's season.
Yeah.
And frankly, I think it's a travesty that we had to watch that Alabama team play an extra game.
Absolutely. They were bad at that point. All right, so Horns at Half Past. Texas, we said, coming off the big four sports in the spring, baseball, softball, men's and women's basketball, went 10-0 over President's Day weekend. Also, somebody sent me this, and we appreciate it. Your men's tennis yesterday,
yes.
7th ranked in the country, reached the ITA indoor final for the second time in program history. They swept Baylor, and they'll face Ohio State today.
That's always good.
Keep an eye on that. But Horns at Half Past, we're all inclusive in Horns at Half Past. Texas baseball plays 5 o'clock tonight. Dylan Valantis selected as the SEC co-pitcher of the week. He was lights out in his first start Sunday. But as we talked about yesterday, Jack, Ruger Riojas, people wondered why he was your Friday starter. How about the Wimberley Texan hitting 97 on the gun consistently in that game, living in the mid-90s. The velocity is up, and you're seeing why Ruger Riojas is your Friday starter at Texas. That guy's got Friday stuff. And you put Luke Harrison in his very comfortable spot on Saturday, and you come in with Dylan Valantis on Sunday. If that plays out, it's a long season. Texas will host Michigan State this weekend after playing Lamar tonight at 5 o'clock. That's a championship pitching staff if it stays healthy. If you're starting Dylan Valantis on Sundays, come on, man. That guy, he's really, really good. Plus, Texas has pitchers beyond that. We were even talking about Jason Flores, the sophomore. You're talking about those freshmen that we previewed, Sam Cozart, and they got arms. They've got players, and we'll get to see it tonight. But a 5 o'clock start tonight. If you're getting out to the dish, you cut out of work a little early, even though you just had a 3-day weekend. But it is Fat Tuesday. The boss will probably cut you loose.
Yeah.
Go out to occupy left field and get ready for the 5 o'clock first pitch, because tonight, 8 o'clock, after you're done with your Fat Tuesday revelry, maybe get home in time to watch Texas basketball, who are playing the LSU Tigers. And you want to talk about two teams headed in an opposite direction. It's an 8 o'clock tip tonight at the Mood. Texas won 4 in a row and 5 of 6. They're playing their best basketball right now. LSU 14-11 overall, Jack, but just 2-10 in the SEC. And they've only won one time in their last 7 games, and that was an overtime win over their fellow conference cellar dwellers at South Carolina. So LSU, not a good team. And so Texas heavily favored in this game. They're 16-9 overall. Texas is now 7-5 in the SEC. And I've mentioned that going into the Missouri game, where Texas just out-executed the heck out of Missouri and dominated the second half, 53-37, to win that basketball game. Dalen Swain with 18 of his 25 in the second half. We've talked about how this is right now, according to the Ken Palm metrics and ratings, Jack, the highest rated Texas offensive efficiency number that the program's ever had this far into a season. But how about this little number? This is the highest rated Ken Palm offensive efficiency team Sean Miller's ever had.
Oh, wow.
And even back to Xavier in Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona.
Because Ken Palm's been around a long time. But Sean Miller was asked about that yesterday at his availability, and he said, it's because what he said, is this the best offense or most efficient offense you've coached? He said, not really. We get a lot of free throws. We make a lot of free throws. And, that's one of the things Texas does very well at an elite level. They make their free throws. They made 23 out of 24 at Missouri on Saturday night on Valentine's Day. And they also offensive rebound well. That's why they're efficient. They get good shots, they make their free throws, and they get second shots. But Sean Miller was asked yesterday. I wanted to play this one for you, Jack, and get your thoughts because he was asked a good question. What was it? Had there been a turning point in this year when because they were pretty bad in December and January? This does not look like a team that was going to contend to make the tournament and maybe improve their seeding as the year went on. Sean Miller was asked what have been the turning points to this team's trajectory and improvement.
Yeah, I think there's a couple moments for us to this point, and obviously, I hesitate to talk in terms of we're at the end because, as we all know, these next 2 or 3 weeks is the moment of truth for everybody, not just Texas, but everybody in college basketball wants to play well from this point moving forward. But, looking back and answering your question, I think the Virginia point was a moment of reckoning for our team and our staff. I wasn't sure what we would be capable of doing in terms of wins and losses. At the same time, I don't know if at that moment everybody really truly recognized that Virginia was one of America's best teams. It felt that way when we played them on that night, but if you followed them since, you can make the argument that they're one of the top 8-10 teams in the country. So, but we learned a lot about ourselves, how far we had to go at that moment. I also think the Alabama game on the road, kind of a breakthrough moment where we had played well on the road in stretches, but we really were able to leave that game with a hard-fought victory against an excellent team that gave us confidence. And then, those two in particular I would call on. And from that point on, I just feel like we've stayed with it. When you guys watch us in games, we're the byproduct of what we've done between each game. How hard we've worked, fixing problems, trying to improve. And, our team has settled into a good, I think, way of practicing, of working hard, being consistent. I think there's more trust and buy-in with each other and what we're doing. And, I think it's put us in a position where we've grown and gotten better. Now, that remains to be seen where we go from here. We have to keep working and getting better, but that's how I see our season to this point.
All right, working together. I like that quote, Jack, or that thought. The work between games is where we're improving, and that's what you're seeing. I mean, it's showing up. Mistakes are being cleaned up. Weaknesses are becoming, not actually maybe strengths, but they're no longer weaknesses, and the strengths are getting stronger. Modest Vokatitis, Dalen Swain, guys who struggled early, like the bench guy, Simeon Wilcher, even Nick Cody. Got a game ball after the Missouri game off the bench.
Well deserved.
For the first time since January. Got in the game, got on the floor, and not just held up space, but actually performed and had a big role in Texas's win at Missouri. So feels like each individual player is getting better. And you just heard the head coach say that we're playing for one another and we're working together. Again, where will they be in mid-March? We'll all find out. Because right now, how about this? The KenPom ratings we talk about a lot. It's the benchmark for college basketball analytics. Texas is cracked the top 30 now. They're number 29 in this morning's KenPom ratings. Number 29. You probably didn't think that when we were. This is a team that's playing. If they keep playing well, they beat LSU tonight. Which they're heavily favored. LSU's not a good team. Got to show up, get a good crowd, and Fat Tuesday, get that win. Then they have 5 games to go. They're looking at possible double-digit wins in SEC play this year, and possibly to 20 wins even in the regular season, which is still possible with 16-9 right now.
Yeah, the turnaround at this team, it can't be understated. They did not look like even a decent team, team that would win 5 conference games back in January. But I think that is all. They're becoming cohesive around Sean Miller. I think he's done a great job. The team is picking up on his message. I think we've heard it with Vokatitis and Jordan Pope. But I think sometimes in this NIL era, in this transfer portal era, you can see these basketball teams sometimes it never quite gels because it's just a bunch of dudes. It's like, you step onto the court at the Y. You've never played with any of these guys. Are you going to be able to fit together? Are you going to be able to play together? And you're finally seeing them come together at the right time. They're playing their best basketball as the season goes on, and we'll see what they look like in March. If they can rack together a couple wins, if they can pull off an upset coming up here in their SEC schedule, which gets tough again, we'll see if they can make a run in the conference tournament. You could see them be one of those teams that nobody wants to play, that frisky, that Cinderella pick for people that gets popular in March Madness brackets.
Well, because we've heard Sean Miller say, Modest Vokatitis, a 7-foot skilled guy, he makes plays not many big men can make in college basketball, and he's getting better. Dalen Swain's a bucket, man. He gets it. And they're efficient offensively. They make their free throws. These are, when you start filling out your brackets come March, and as you just heard Sean Miller say, that's way ahead of the schedule here. But, that's the kind of team, do they make their free throws, good guard play, can get their own shots, don't go long stretches without scoring, offensive rebound, make foul shots. I mean, that's Texas. Now, I don't think they're going to cut down the nets. And as for those KenPom ratings, Jack, right now, just to look big picture, just coming out of Valentine's Day into Fat Tuesday, number one team in the KenPom rankings is Michigan. You know who they play this weekend? The number 2 ranked team, Duke. They play this weekend.
That'll be a good one.
Duke smacked Syracuse last night on Big Monday. Michigan, Duke, number 1 and number 2. Arizona is 3. Houston Cougars 4. So right now, a month out to March Madness, that would be your number 1 seed line. Those would be your number 1 seeds, essentially. Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Houston. Florida is up to 5. They're the highest ranked SEC team, and Texas has to play Florida 1 week from tomorrow in Austin. The Mood. That should be cranking, right? Texas hosting, because they have this game tonight at home, and then Texas will travel this weekend and then come back for the Florida Gators up to number 5 in the KenPom ratings. Number 6 is Illinois. Number 7 is Iowa State, who beat Houston last night. Purdue's 8, UConn, and Gonzaga round out your top 10 in the current KenPom rankings. We mentioned Texas is up to number 29. And the Texas schedule with 6 to go. Jack, 3 at home, 3 on the road. Horns have 2 games they have to win where they'll be heavily favored. That's tonight and then the home game with Oklahoma to wrap up the regular season. They got to win those 2. That automatically gets them to, that's 8 wins in the SEC if they get those 2. Then they have 2 tough road games where Texas is playing better and are higher ranked, but on the road. That's at Georgia this Saturday in Athens. Texas higher ranked, playing better, played them earlier this year here in Austin and beat them. I was at that game. And then Texas A&M a week later in College Station. And the Aggies are sliding pretty badly right now, but as you said, they're a matchup problem. And then there's 2 games against, the Florida Gators, who are number 5 in the KenPom, and Arkansas, who are the 2 best teams in the SEC right now, 2 most power-rated teams, 2 best teams at the top. Arkansas with John Calipari and Florida. So, we'll see where they go. Those are your 6 games. 2 games they have to win, 2 road games that they can win, and then 2 games against, the top competition in the conference. So we'll see where they go. It feels like 10-8 is possible in the conference, which would get them in the tournament for sure.